Hello, yeah, I don't know if if all of you have seen on the BBC this morning, BBC News, on their news channel, they were doing a news piece about the failures in disability support and care, and the care system, and the failures in all of that. And I was watching it this morning. It was really interesting, really well done. And they were asking for people's stories. They had a hashtag, hashtag BBC Send, and they were asking people on Facebook and Twitter and everything to go and add their stories and stuff. So of course I added my story through Facebook. But it was very eye-opening as well. Like there are still things like asylums in use today. Yeah, they don't call them asylums anymore. They call them, I believe they were using ATU, or some ATU, UAT, something like that. Treatment hospitals for people with learning difficulties and stuff, disabilities. I can't remember exactly. Sorry, my brain fog today. But yeah, and that is shocking that there are still these asylums in use today. There were a couple of families on there talking about their children and their family members that were put into these asylums, and they said they have no quality of life. They're stuck in a little cell most of the day. They're segregated from other patients, other people. They're segregated from society. They've been in. There's some of them that have been in there for years. I believe one person was saying something about their son was in there for 16 years. A lot of them weren't given a chance to start their own life. They weren't given a chance to be independent. They weren't given a chance to learn those life skills, because that choice and that decision was taken away from them, because it's like, you're disabled, you can't think for yourself, so we're going to think for you. But we can't be bothered to give you the support. We can't be bothered to take time out of our day and out of our life to help you. So we're just going to stick you in this asylum and, sweep you under the carpet and forget about you, And I know that sounds hard. I sound a bit sharp-tongued there, but that's the way I feel about it, because I was nearly put into one of those. And I visited a few places like that, and I visited a friend that got put in there, and it wasn't nice. And after my mum died, my grandparents took over my care, and no blame on them. They're old-fashioned. They didn't know much about disability. They hadn't dealt with disabilities or learning difficulties before. They were unsure what to do, and essentially they wanted the best for their grandchild. They wanted to do what was right for me, but they weren't sure what was right for me, so I don't blame them at all. But they thought I wouldn't be able to look after myself. They thought I wouldn't be able to be independent. They thought I wouldn't be able to go out and get a job. I wouldn't be able to, do normal things that normal people do. I wouldn't be able to be a normal part of society. and they were looking into putting me into one of these asylum places or sheltered housing or sheltered living, where I'd have round the clock care and all the decisions about my finances, my life, about when I'm allowed to go out, where I'm allowed to go, when I'm allowed to go. You know, I have to get written permission if I want to go off down the shop or go to the cinema, you know, with a friend, all that kind of thing. And, you know, and I didn't want that, because I have a mind. It works. Yes, okay, it works differently to neurotypicals, you know, because of my autism and my learning difficulties. It works slightly different. I'm wired slightly different. You know, everyone else is a Windows PC. I'm a Mac. That's basically the easiest way of explaining it. You know, so, you know, I get that my brain works differently, but my brain still works. I'm still able to make decisions for myself. You know, I'm still able to, I know right from wrong, you know. Yeah, okay, I make mistakes at some point, but every human being is guilty of that. Every human being has made mistakes, you know. So basically, I fought tooth and nail to not be put into a facility like that, to the point where I actually left. And I'd say I ran away from home, but I was an adult, you know. I was over 16. I was over 18, I think, 17, 18 years old, and I just thought, I've got to prove to them that I can do this for myself. I can look after myself. So I left my nan and granddad's house. And also at that time, my nan and granddad had my other younger siblings that they were trying to look after. So, you know, and the house was quite cramped. So I thought the best thing for them would be for me to go somewhere else as well, and me to break out on my own and fledge the nest and whatnot. So basically, because of all of that, I made myself homeless, which probably wasn't a good idea. Because when you're disabled and homeless on the streets, it is impossible to get help, you know. But in the end, I did get somewhere. I mean, whilst I was homeless, I met John, my fiance, and he's been a massive help. He's brilliant. And he was kind of in the same boat, homeless-wise, and he also has some learning difficulties. You know, he has ADHD, Asperger's, he has mental health issues. So, you know, we kind of clicked, we kind of understood each other, you know. So we kind of then helped each other out, get what we needed. In the end, we managed to get this flat I'm in now. It's not perfect, but it's a roof over my head, you know. So I'm not going to complain too much about it, even though it's falling apart around me. But, you know, we managed to do that. I've managed to keep up with my bills, which, yes, okay, I do get a little bit help with my rent, housing benefit wise, because I don't work and I'm on benefits. So, you know, my partner, John, he doesn't work. He's my full-time carer. So, but I've managed to keep up with, like, all the bill payments. Yes, okay, at times I've fallen behind. I've had a few hiccups. But again, I think every human being is guilty of that. You know, not having enough money to pay a bill one week, so they think, oh, I'll leave it till next payday and pay it then, you know, and they're late on the bill. Every human being is guilty of that, I think. You know, I've not burnt the house down yet, even though I've burnt myself cooking a few times. You know, I've not killed myself by accident. I've not electrocuted myself. You know, I've managed the housework. Yeah, I'm not brilliant at housework, but I managed to keep it as clean as possible. You know, and I'm doing okay. You know, I know people. I have friends that aren't disabled. You know, that are struggling more than I am with life. You know, so on the whole, I don't think I'm doing too bad. So I don't think I deserve to be put in something like an asylum. You know, and I think my life would be totally different if I was put into one of those asylums. You know, I'd probably still be there now, stuck in a little cell with nothing to do, you know, going completely crazy with boredom and, you know, but yeah, and they were talking about on the BBC, on the news this morning as well, about how the care system has been failing people, and basically education-wise, disabled people and people with learning difficulties are being failed as well. They're not being given the help and support they need in schools. They're not giving the funding they need to go to specialised schools that specialise in children with learning difficulties and disabilities. They're not being given that funding to be able to go there, so they're shoved into mainstream schools like I was when I was a child. And the teachers in the mainstream schools don't know how to cope with these children. And basically when I was at school, I was shoved to the back of the classroom and ignored. And when I did have SNA helper teachers or whatever, the classroom assistant teachers to help me, they didn't help me. They just took my work off of me and did it for me. So I didn't really learn anything from school, you know. If I had been given the funding, and if my mum said okay to me going to one of these specialised schools, like I asked my mum several times, can you send me to one of these schools? You know, I want to go to a specialised school, you know, because I think that would be better for me. And she kept saying, well, no, I don't want you in one of those schools. I want you in a mainstream school, because in a specialised school, they don't teach you properly. You won't learn anything. You know, and I've sort of like said, well, I'm not learning anything in this mainstream school. And she said, well, either way, there's no, the council and social services and everything will not fund you going to one of these specialised schools. You know, and the people I've met, the disabled people I've met that went to these specialised schools for disabilities, they have extremely successful lives. They have extremely successful jobs. You know, I've met people that are going to medical school, that are at university, you know, all because they went to these specialised schools. Because these specialised schools know how to teach people with disabilities and learning difficulties. They are trained specially in that, you know. So I was failed there again, and a lot of disabled people have been failed there education-wise. This is why there are a lot of unemployed disabled people now stuck on disability benefits, you know. And it's okay if you come from a family that is well off, because then they can pay to have you go private. They can get you the private support and care. But if you're on NHS and you can't afford private, you don't get the help, you don't get the support, you know. And you know, it's just something that I've been trying to fight against lately, and I'm struggling a lot myself. I've lost quite a lot of independence due to the fact that my disability money has been cut, and I'm still fighting to get PIP. I'm on very low ESA income at the moment, so I can't afford mobility aids. I can't afford to get taxis when I need to get taxis to get out and about. You know, and because my health is getting worse and it's all affecting my mental health, my motivation has gone right down. So, you know, whereas before, even if I was feeling ill physically, I'd skate by on motivation alone, you know. I'd motivate myself to get up out of bed, to get functional as possible for the day, you know. Whether it be just get up and get some housework done, I'd have that motivation to get myself up and moving. But now, because my mental health is being badly affected by it, I don't have that motivation to get myself up and moving, you know. So I'm stuck there, and I have gone to a few different agencies, support agencies, that are supposed to help, but they have said to me, well, we can only help, one, if you have disability money like PIP or DLA. We can only help you if you have those. And I said, well, no, I don't have those. They said, well, come back to us when you do. And PIP is saying, because I don't have the support, because I don't have the carers coming in to help me and cleaners coming in to help me, because I don't have all this stuff, then, you know, because I don't have it, then they said to me, well, you don't need PIP then, because you don't have to pay for this stuff, you don't have this stuff, so you... And I'm like, well, I don't have this stuff because I don't have the money and I don't have disability benefits. If I had disability benefits, Southampton City Council can help me with carers and things. But because I don't have that, I'm not entitled to that help from Southampton City Council and Southampton Social Services Disability Team. You know, Southampton Social Services Disability Team have helped me in some ways. They've put in a disabled wet room access shower for me, and that was all down to a really lovely lady who come out to do a disability assessment on me. She was an amazing lady. Her mum, I think it was her mum, has a similar disabilities to me, so she fully understood. And she cares for her mum, so she fully understood where I was coming from, and that is the only reason I have the disability access wet room shower thing, which has been an amazing help, you know. At least now I can get myself washed without almost killing myself, you know, and without injuring myself. But still, you know, I can't afford mobility aids, so I can't get out and about as much as I used to. You know, I have a wheelchair. I don't like using it. It's not a very good wheelchair. It's like falling apart. It was like really, I bought it myself. It was like really, really cheap second-hand thing. And it was while I was going through my heart after the heart surgery. I bought it so that I could get out and about doing the shopping while I was recovering, because I couldn't do too much walking around or too much activity, you know, while my heart was healing. So I can't use that wheelchair because it's too big and bulky and heavy, and getting it on and off buses is a nightmare. Not only for me but for John, because I can't self-propel because of the issues with my shoulders, neck and back and my arms. John has to push me, and he has physical health issues as well. He has issues with his knees and his back, and shoulders and that at the moment. So he struggles sometimes. It causes him physical pain and makes his health worse, trying to push me on and off buses and lift the wheelchair on and off there with me sat in it. You know, and I know I look quite small and light, but I'm actually quite heavy because of the metalwork. You know, my steel rods in my spine and everything, you know. So he's not only got to lift my weight, he's got to lift that weight as well. You know, so it's really difficult. And I used to hire, well, you know, I was going to be hiring mobility scooters and electric wheelchairs, but I don't have the money to do that at the moment. You know, I don't have enough money in my budget for that. I wanted to buy my own one. I was hoping if I got PIP, I could buy one outright, buy a mobility scooter outright. But I don't have PIP, you know. I keep being turned down for that. And I've been on the NHS wheelchair list for like 5 years now, you know. And there are people that have been on the waiting list longer than I have. And when I originally signed up, I could self-propel a wheelchair. So I asked for a manual wheelchair. That's what they signed me up for. Now I can't self-propel. So I've got to make a new claim, cancel that first claim for the manual wheelchair, make a new claim for an electric wheelchair, which then's going to put me back to the back of the queue again, you know. So then I'll be waiting another 5-6 years. So I've given up with trying to get an NHS wheelchair, you know. So basically, because I can't get out and about because of my mobility issues, I'm stuck indoors all day, every day, you know, and I feel like the walls are closing in on me, you know. It's not good for the mental health, it's not good for the mental well-being, you know. It's not good for quality of life. I have no quality of life, you know. I don't get out and about to see friends and family. I can't just go out for a walk, you know, to get some fresh air. I can't go to the cinema whenever I like to see a movie. You know, I can't do things normal people do. I can't go out for a meal with friends. You know, half the time, one, because of my mobility and my health, I'm too ill to go out. If I had a wheelchair, you know, that was usable, I could go out and that, I could get out with that. But again, it's money wise as well. You know, I can't afford all those nice things. I can't afford to do all that. Basically, all I can afford is to pay my bills and buy food. That's it. And sometimes I struggle with that. You know, sometimes that's difficult. You know, because some months the bills are a bit more than expected, so I've had to pay more. So then I've had to decide between food and the bills, you know. I've had to at the moment I have no heating. It is dead of winter and it's been really freezing. This is why I've been wearing big hoodies like this around the house, you know, and 2 or 3 layers, because I cannot afford heating at the moment, because I've had to decide between electric or heating. You know, if I don't have electric, I can't cook food. You know, I don't have lighting, I can't see where I'm going at night. You know, and the only source of entertainment I have really is, you know, TV and my video games. That's the only source of entertainment I have at the moment, you know. And if I have no electric, then I'm just sat in the dark doing nothing. You know, might as well just stick me in a coffin and bury me. You know, and I'm not the only one. There are thousands of people in the UK, thousands of disabled people in the UK being failed by the healthcare system, by the social care system, you know, by social services, by everyone. They're being failed by the education system. They're being failed by everyone. And then the government are sat there wondering why there is a rise in disabled people out of work on disability benefits. You know, this is why, because you're failing them. If you put more money into social care system and the health system and things to support disabled people in going into work, you know, if the government put more money into all that, then disabled people can be part of society. But at the moment, we're being shut out of society. We're being told you're defective. We can't be bothered to deal with you. So we're gonna just shove you in a room somewhere and close the door and ignore you. You know, that's basically it, and it's disgusting. So I urge everyone, anyone who has disability, learning disability, mental health, you know, health issues, any health issues, chronic illnesses, anyone in the UK that is suffering from being let down by the care systems, I urge you to speak up, speak out about it. This is the only way it's going to get solved, is if we put our foot down and say, no, we're not taking this anymore. You know, get hold of the BBC, get on Facebook, use their hashtag BBC Send, you know, get onto the NHS web pages and the NHS Facebook page, message them, flood them with your stories, you know, make your voices heard. Excuse the drilling, there's builders in my building at the moment. But yeah, I think that's my cue to end the video here. But as I said, make your voices heard. Make videos, post them all over the social media, you know. Make your voices heard. That is the only way it's going to be solved. Thanks for watching. I will see you all later. Bye bye.